You know, some people in the comic market have said that we were going to go back down to 2018 prices. I myself, based on the index, was kind of thinking that we were maybe going to go back down to 2020 prices. Well, it turns out we were all wrong for certain books because Batman 1 has now officially reset to its 2013 price. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggelhaus. And in this one, we got to talk about fake sales, real sales. Nobody actually knows, and that's kind of the interesting thing with this conversation here today. A Batman 1 selling for $75,000 less than its previous sale. Can we actually believe this? Is fair market value real? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about it. But of course, before I get into it, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, I would appreciate it. Helps support the channel doing things. But let us get into this video here today. Now, shout out to Dan, who had sent me this listing. Here on eBay, we have a recent sale for a Batman 1 CGC 1.5. You guys know Batman 1, right? First appearance of the Joker and the Cat, later to be known as Catwoman. For a lot of people, the biggest comic book grail there is in comic book collecting. First issue of the maybe most popular character in all of superheroes. And you can see that it sold for the whopping price of $25,000 with $150 shipping. From this account right here, FamJ82, with 172 positive reviews. So very, very strange for someone to list this book for 25 grand. Of course, someone immediately bought it because based on what I'm kind of inferring here with the video, you can tell that this is a ridiculously low price. Where this sale right here, now registered in Go Collect, here in the 1.5 grade, shows $25,000 sold as a fixed price on eBay. And you can see that the last sale for this book was actually $103,000 from Golden Auctions back in May of 2022. Sale before that in 2020 on Heritage Auctions was $78,000. Sale before that was $70,000 on Comic Connect back in 2018. You have to go all the way back to 2013 where this book sold for $18,901. So the question is, can this sale actually be believed? Is this a real thing? Well, according to Go Collect, and anyone who uses Go Collect as a real database to pull, you know, comic book sales, I mean, they're going to see this and they're going to think to themselves, okay, well, I guess the last one was $25,000. And if you go to, like we did, sold listings here on eBay, I mean, it shows as a legitimate sale for $25,000. And this is really the point, or the broader point of the video, is that this is the Wild West of comic book collecting, right? We actually don't know if some of these sales are real. Some of them could be manipulated. Some of them could be fake. This could be a shill bid situation, or this could have been a seller who legitimately wanted to get rid of their book as fast as possible. And they were like, I'll take $25,000, even though I know it's worth $100. Probably not very likely that they actually did that, but also, who am I to judge, right? You never know with certain people. Anyways, I pulled up their profile, and let's take a look at this. FamJ82, 172 reviews. You look at it here, and it's 100% positive feedback, although only 2 items sold. So now it gets a little more interesting, because is this 2 items sold more proof that this is fake? Or is it more proof that this is real? You know, I mean, maybe this person is not really much of a seller. Maybe they've been sitting on this Batman 1 for 30 years. And, you know, they spend $1,000 on it, and now they're happy to get $25,000. You know what I mean? And if you go over here to their positive reviews, a lot of positive stuff. Thank you for the easy, pleasant transaction. Excellent buyer. Quick response. Fast payment. Perfect. Thanks. Hope to deal with you again soon. Thank you for your purchasing of Watchbox Finder. Hope to deal with you again. Thank you. So it seems like from a buyer perspective, they have a pretty active profile. But then, you know, did it get hacked? Is their account, you know, all of a sudden selling these strange books? Let's take a look at the listing here. Legendary issue, Batman 1, unrestored, CGC grade, 1.5, see pictures. Not many out there in this condition and price. I don't know. It looks kind of fake. Don't you guys think? It looks kind of fake. But at the same time, it's like more real looking than usual fake sales look. And usually Go Collect, which is not perfect, tends to get rid of the fake sales. This could be one of them. But as you guys can see right now from the chart, I mean, look at that graph. Crashing down in value. Now, if we hop over to GPA analysis, this will not be in GPA. You know, the last sale it shows for this is $78,000 back in 2020, which is, you know, kind of interesting because in GPA here, it doesn't even show this sale for Golden Auctions, which this one sold for $103,000 back in 2022. So now it sort of makes you wonder, well, does GPA just not pull in Golden Auction sales? I think that actually that is true. It doesn't actually do that. Or was the Golden Auction one, you know, a return sale? Maybe that one never actually really went through and it's still in the Go Collect thing. And I guess that's really, again, where I want to take it back to the broader topic of conversation here in this video, which is to say, the pricing guides, sales, figures, data, it's all a little bit fugazi, you know? It's all real, but it's also not real. Sometimes you have to take these things with a grain of salt. Because here's the interesting thing. If this book, in fact, was a real sale, right? You have some guy who's been collecting for 30 years, 40 years, whatever, and he just happens to have this Batman one. He got it when, you know, back in 1973, and he picked it up and had it in his collection, and he bought it for a couple $100 or $1,000 or whatever the case was for that book back then. And then he just decided to sell it today. And he didn't care. And he engaged in a transaction with another person who was willing to pay the price that he was willing to sell it for. Then it's a real sale. It's a real sale. And here's the interesting thing about that too. I think if GPA was going to report on this thing, even if it was real, even if they proved that it would be real, they would scrub it from their sales data. Because there is curation that occurs on pricing guides. Because the thing is this, is like, as a $25,000 sale for that book, even if it is a real sale, it doesn't help the community or the market to know that that book sold for $25,000. Because the reality is this, even though it is real, no one would ever sell their Batman one for $25,000 again. They just wouldn't do it, you know? So if that seller was just happened to be willing to do it, you know, it doesn't really help to report it in because honestly, it skews the whole thing because you're never going to find that deal again. So the person who bought this book is the luckiest buyer in the world, at least at this current moment in time. And that's kind of how the nature of this curation game is played. I mean, think about this. We've had so many conversations, you know, about this many times over. Like somewhere out there today or this past weekend, you know, there was somebody who bought an AF-15 from grandma's garage sale. You know what I mean? We had conversations about that, right? Where the person bought the Tech 27 at a garage sale. And what did they pay? I don't know, like $10 or whatever it was, right? But should that data be reported on Go Collect or GPA? Does it actually help anyone to know that $10 is the fair market value for this imperfect market where things are unregulated and there's a lot of arbitrage going on in all these different marketplaces that actually do these sales? No, it doesn't actually help. And so I thought that this was kind of an interesting conversation, a little bit of a reminder to all of us out there that just because things sell for this at a high, just because things sell for this at a low, doesn't necessarily mean that the book that you have actually matches the value that you see in those sold figures. The reality is your book is valued, whatever it is that you end up selling it for, or whatever it is that you end up buying it for conversely, right? Doesn't matter what the last sale was. Is your Batman one now worth $25,000? Probably not. Could you get more for it? Maybe. Maybe you won't get more for it. Maybe we're going back down to 2013 prices. I don't know. I thought that this was very interesting. Do you guys think that this is a real sale? Or is this just another weird shill-bidding scammer situation? And if it is, remember to be careful out there. Because while you do have eBay protection, I mean, if you're somebody who bought this book and you paid $25,000 and then your card gets rung up $25,000 or your whatever, your bank account gets charged this, even if it turns out that this sale ends up being fake. I mean, we're talking about opportunity cost here. I mean, we're talking about like you got to go through the process of eBay, like you didn't receive the item, your money gets locked up for however long, maybe it's 3 months for you to get your money back. And maybe this person who actually got this transaction is able to keep some of this money. I mean, that's kind of the scamming game that possibly occurs with sales like this. You know, you have the accounts that bait these books you know, where they show like, oh, look at this account. It's just selling Batman 1s, AF-15s, and Action 1s, you know, all on eBay. They just happen to have every single Grail book that you could ever possibly want. And they do this stuff and they lock up people's money, and they're able to probably, you know, fish some income out of this. And then even if the buyer ends up getting their money back, you know, it's such a process and a pain in the butt regardless. But also sometimes I've heard people buy from those accounts that it's just that mom and pop seller, you know, that just decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to let it rip. Put my Batman 1 on it. 25 grand. Sounds good. Boom. And done. You know, maybe $25,000 is actually the price of the value of the book in Overstreet. That could actually be what it is. Let me know in the comments. If anyone has an Overstreet guide, which, yes, guilty. I do not have an Overstreet guide. But if anyone has it, is $25,000 the fair market value for a low grade of Batman 1? Maybe that's what they did. Maybe the seller just put 25 grand because that's what the guide says. And they were willing to sell it for that. I don't know. Very interesting stuff. Is it real? Is it fake? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you all in the next video.